Hey everybody, this is Jim Frasca. I am a video production specialist here for NDI November, and today we are going to be talking all about BirdDog cameras, encoders, etc., etc. And here I am today with Jake Fineman
Hey,
from BirdDog. How you doing, Jake?
doing well today, Jim. How you doing?
I'm also doing well. So why don't we just get right into this and start talking about some BirdDog
Let's
stuff?
do it. Let's jump into
So,
BirdDog.
BirdDog. Who's
BirdDog. So we've been around for about 5.5, 6 years now. We make NDI encoders, converters, cameras, software, everything that you need to facilitate a complete NDI ecosystem inside your production facility, inside your post-production facility, inside any of your house of worships, or anywhere where we need to send NDI around.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great spot for BirdDog to fit in.
And speaking of BirdDog fitting in anywhere, we actually use a P100 in our studio right now, and we love it. So
Yep.
that was actually the camera that was just on Jake. So
Yep.
great camera.
Love that camera.
BirdDog, who we are. We kind of just touched on this. Do you want to?
Yeah, so a global
Again.
video technology company. We essentially have our NDI silicon chips built into all of our converters and cameras.
Yep.
And therefore, that's what we use to get that video signal either from a baseband SDI or directly from the image sensor onto the network
Yep.
at ultra low latency.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I skipped a slide. All right, so why would we choose BirdDog over potentially someone else?
So what we love that we use inside of our cameras for PTZs, we use our Sony Exmor-R sensors. So at the end of the day, we have a fantastic image quality that comes out of these cameras. And we've spent a lot of time dealing with the pan tilt motors inside these cameras. So we're able to pan, tilt, zoom all simultaneously,
Right.
and be able to have that ultimate control and movements.
And
Whether you're using PTZ presets or you're using a joystick or even an Xbox controller.
right, I was just going to say we sometimes have some presets set on our P100. Sometimes we have a sign here or a thing here or a person.
Super
and just
easy
being able
to
to
do.
switch between them, very easy. To do.
Exactly. You can do that right through a TriCaster, speaking of NDI,
Yep.
or any of the other video switchers that leverage the NDI technology.
Yeah. And we do use a TriCaster in our studio,
Yep.
and the BirdDog pairs with it amazing. You touched upon this a little bit, so do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure.
Sony Exmor-R
Yes,
image sensor?
Of course, yeah. So we use that Exmor-R sensor inside of our cameras. That's essentially giving us that high quality look that we can then. I've personally cut between FX9s, Sony Venices with my P4Ks, and a couple of our other cameras to be used in my own live productions before joining Team BirdDog. So being able to intercut between manned cameras and PTZs in a facility is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Sometimes when people think of a PTZ, they're thinking quality of a webcam, and that
Right.
just is not true anymore.
Not true anymore
Yep.
at all. These
So-
are broadcast cinema quality sensors and cameras.
Yep. And you talked about the silicone chip a little bit before, but let's
Yes.
talk about that for a minute or
Yeah.
so.
So what's exciting about BirdDog is that we were the first company to put a silicon chip right inside of our devices to get streaming onto NDI as fast as possible. So we leverage our technology and our IP stack that we've created to adhere to the NDI standards and get onto that network as fast as possible.
Very cool. And of course, we couldn't not talk about NDI with NDI November.
Of course.
So again, maybe we can give a little teaser as to what's going on
Yeah,
here.
let's talk
all
about
this.
what we have going on the table right now, right?
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
do that. So over here on my right, I have the brand new BirdDog P240. So this takes that BirdDog P200 to the next level.
Oh yeah.
Just an FYI for everyone moving forward, our second subset number of our camera range is going to be the zoom distance. So when we have our P240, we have our 40 times zoom on this camera. Next to it, I also have a P120.
Yep.
So that one has a 20 times optical zoom on that camera. And then on this turnstile over here, we also have a PF120. Again, 20 times optical zoom on that one.
Yep, and this is another camera that we actually use in our studio quite often. Anytime we have a top-down shot, that is the camera that we are using. We're going to do a little demo a little bit later, so definitely stick around because we're going to be showing all of these in use at the same time. But let's talk about
our range. Let's jump
PF120.
The PF120. So we have that here as a top-down camera on top this over this keyboard. 20 times optical zoom. We have a nice bright tally light right on the front that is toggleable to be turned on or off depending on your needs. What I like is we have a locking power connector. So if you're not using PoE over NDI through your switch, you can have a locking power connector. All of our cameras are PoE enabled, whether that's PoE, PoE Plus, and even PoE Plus Plus to our outdoor range. Able to get that just with a single cable to stream right onto your network.
Definitely makes it very easy to use.
It really does. You know, we have that tally info that comes through, data, PTZ control. This one just has zoom control because it is a box camera. But then also, all of our cameras have simultaneous SDI, HDMI, and NDI. Network streaming outputs. So very, very exciting over here.
Very cool little box camera.
Yeah.
All right, let's make this nice. And then we'll talk about the P100, which again, we use in our studio. Anytime that you see a full close-up shot of Jake, that's our P100.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the P100.
So this was the first camera that we put onto the market. It's a 10 times optical zoom camera. It is PoE. It also has a USB output on it as well. So you can, if you want to use a simultaneous NDI and then plug that right into your computer for Zoom or for Teams or whatever you need to use for a webcam source. Super advantageous right there to jump in.
Very cool. So let's step it up a little bit and talk about our brand new cameras,
Totally.
or some of the brand new cameras.
Totally. So from that P100 series, we come up to the P120 and the P110. So that 110 is going to be that 10 times optical zoom, where the 120 has the 20 times optical zoom. So we found that we needed a little bit more push in that, just to be able to, punch in on those specific sources.
A little bit more zoom.
Exactly. And then as you'll see here, we have this amazing tally mohawk, is what we're calling it, which will have that tally information on the front as well as on the back. Mm-hmm. On the back of these units, you could see in that slide that we actually have it illuminated with the tally info. Yep. So those come with removable silicone adapters to put on the back to label your cameras 1, 2, 3, etc.
One thing that I wanted to touch upon, and we were actually just playing around with this, getting this set up, and it made it super easy. We don't really have a close-up of it, but can we talk about that LED screen on the front of the new cameras?
Totally. So I love this. Essentially, on the front of that OLED, we have the BirdDog camera name. We have its IP address. We have the current video resolution. So we know if the camera's on the network, we know it's IP, we know it's streaming. We're able to easily jump in and see what device ensure that it's on the network.
So definitely very cool. It made setting up this keyboard even all that much easier, knowing which camera was which without having to have another device in the mix.
Exactly.
So this is a wireframe of the back of it because it is a new camera. Yep. So what kind of ports are we talking about?
So we have our RJ45s for our NDI. We also have serial control for RS232 and 422. All the cameras also come with a power supply. So we have that available if you don't have PoE on your network. HDMI out and 3G SDI are all simultaneous with that NDI stream. So if you're in a facility where, let's say we want to do NDI for control, but you still have that SDI backbone and that goes into your distribution amplifiers before it gets into the production system, you're able to tie these amazing BirdDog cameras right into your existing facility.
That's actually a really good workflow to take into consideration because I wouldn't have necessarily thought of that. So,
totally.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, to be able to have that NDI control and then your physical outputs ready to go.
Yep. All right, so a classic,
Classic
P200.
P200.
Let's talk about the P200 a little
This
bit.
was the first camera that I actually got from BirdDog when I was doing my productions a couple years ago. And it went toe-to-toe with my manned Sony cameras, and just being able to have that remote control capabilities through that PTZ and NDI. It's absolutely what we needed for the production at the time.
Yeah, and we occasionally will use a P200 in our studio too. And again, just love how smooth and good that picture is.
It is.
But of course, we're going to talk about the 200. We got to talk about the 240,
Totally.
brand new one. So
changing the game with this one. So again, we are taking that whole Tally Mohawk light from the 110 and 120s, bringing that over to the P240. This one has 40 times zoom when you use it in native scan mode, which is incredible. So it has a 20 times optical and then an extra 20 when you need to punch in for a little bit further on that. Something that I didn't mention on the PF 120, 110, and 120 and the 240 is that they all have lens filter threads on there.
Oh, yeah. How could we forget?
How could we forget that? So I want to make sure we talk about that. We talked about it right before we went live.
Yep.
So essentially, those are filter threads that you can attach third-party filters. I personally use a black Pro Mist on my P4K in my studio at home.
Yep.
So what that does in that scenario is that softens highlights. It does some highlight diffusion. I actually even saw a really cool blue streak filter that you can actually put on, so you can kind of make these look a little anamorphic. So I got to test that one out. But for everywhere else, if you don't need to essentially just enhance that image quality, I like to protect my cameras. So I'll put on a clear UV filter thread on that. Just I'd rather that that filter get damaged rather than the lens of the camera.
Right. It's a minuscule amount of money to replace the lens in comparison.
Exactly.
The filter in comparison.
Exactly.
So, very good. And take a look at the back of the 240. What kind of ports are we looking for?
So this one is really special. So we have, with the 240, we added balanced audio. So there's a breakout cable that you can get to do balanced XLR inputs and outputs through that cable. We also do have the unbalanced audio ins and outs as we do on the other cameras. HDMI, SDI, NDI, all simultaneous. I'm an audio guy, so something that I love that we added onto this was that we have phantom power. So you can use that PoE to then send that extra juice down that breakout cable. So then, again, you can fire up your shotgun microphones, essentially put your P240 on a tripod, have a C-clamp with a shotgun microphone, and you're ready to go in a single cable.
Do everything
you could do
all with this camera.
You can do everything with it.
All right, I'm sold. Phantom power, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, P400.
We're getting to 4K NDI now.
4K NDI.
Right, so this one has a 20 times optical zoom. It is also capable as 1080p 60, but we do 4K 30 on this camera. PoE, and all of our cameras have an incredible advanced color matrix where you can dial in all the HSV values and adjust the hue and the gain of each individual color on there.
Yep.
And then one other thing, through cam control software, we have auto tracking on all these cameras. So
yes, we do. Yes.
That's the thing about like BirdDog and NDI and this technology is that like there's always one more cool thing that we've added to just essentially help all these productions.
To take it to the next level.
Exactly.
And speaking of cam control, we are going to be doing another show with NDI November with BirdDog, talking all about their cloud software as well. So this is mostly on the hardware, physical hardware. Oh, there we are. But we will be doing another show on the cloud software as well. So definitely make sure to stick around for that. And let's move on to the P4K, the studio camera.
This is the studio camera. This is going to be in your broadcast facilities. This is going to be where you need to have that full amazing bokeh that comes with a 1-inch Sony sensor on there. I mentioned before that I've color matched this to Sony Venices and FX9s and even FS7s in my productions. Because it has that Zeiss lens, we're able to really, match with existing cameras and create the quality needed for those types of productions.
Yep, going back to what we how we opened this, that PTZ cameras aren't just webcams.
No.
They have completely evolved to the next level.
They're not webcams, they're not security cameras. These are, cinema broadcast quality, high-end, cameras to be able to use in any situation.
Yep, perfect. And the back of the wireframe for the P4K, some of the inputs.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun things on there. So we have, like on all the other cameras, we have those baseband outputs that are all simultaneously streaming. A Genlock port. We have a 6G SDI on that one for that 4K, and then NDI streaming.
Perfect. Okay, and we mentioned that we were going to talk about a little bit of a demo, but let's first talk about the PTC keyboard. And
totally. So, I mean, you have to control these cameras somehow, right? So now that they're on the network, we have a controller on the network. So that's this PTZ keyboard. And from here, you can adjust your exposure, your focus, your pan tilt speed, and zoom with the zoom rocker. We also have, your iris and white balance control right there. Something fun that we've added onto this, we have 6 function buttons that can be configured for API calls. So if you're sending signals to like maybe your vMix to switch sources, or I use mine to mute and unmute my microphones, that are being used inside, that kind of production, or even start and stop recording of any.
Just making it all that much more convenient to use.
Exactly. So your PTZ operator really could just be here and have full control over that camera.
Let's pull up our little top-down camera, and maybe we can explain this workflow a little bit.
Totally.
So we're talking about NDI, and everything's coming through one cable.
Exactly.
To each device.
Totally.
And with one cable, we are powering everything.
Yep.
We are getting control over everything, and we are sending video to our TriCaster.
Exactly.
So let's show off the controller a little bit.
So we have this orange cable, blue, coming in to this one, and looks like we just pulled up this 240. So I have control over the studio. So there's our studio cams, and then let's go in and punch over to.
Say hi again, Adam.
Right. So we have that full control. Actually, here let's see how far we can punch in. See?
We can see
ourselves in the TriCaster on his machine over there. So that's always fun.
Very cool.
So then let's punch back out. So these cameras, they don't do a full 360, but we do pretty much all the way around. So it's like, what is that, 358?
That's got to be something pretty like close. Yeah.
Pretty close.
Hello.
Yep.
Here we are.
So then you can easily save preset positions. You can use that zoom rocker. Or the joystick, and then your PT speed control. So let's say if I wanted to get a nice slow pan going on,
Yeah, and just with a twist of a knob. And just kind of to show it off a little bit here, we do have this one connected. We don't have the feed, but let's show how easy it is to just switch cameras.
So we just press 2 and then cam, and then now I have control over the P120.
Oh, we do have the feed.
We do print it back in. That's awesome.
Good on you, Adam.
So we could do some slow zooms in, and what's also incredible, I was saying earlier that we can do simultaneous zoom and pans, and on different angles too.
It's very smooth too.
There we have that 45-degree angle down, and then back up, while also simultaneously zooming in. So
very cool. And again, this is all going through NDI with one cable to each device.
Exactly.
Super easy to pull into your system. I mean, how long did it take us to set this up before we started? 5
minutes?
If that?
I think the longest was taking the camera out of the box.
I think I would agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah. So very, very, very convenient, and BirdDog is nailing NDI. Okay, so we did want to just talk about some bundles that are going on with some of the BirdDog cameras, including the P100, which was the second camera that we talked about. If you get 3 of them, you get $500 off.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty amazing.
If we go up a little bit and we go back to talking about the P400, if you get 3 of those 4K cameras, you get the free keyboard and $500 off.
Exactly.
That is crazy.
I mean, you're ready to go with just that bundle.
Exactly. You have everything that you need to do a production.
Yep.
And then if you have a studio level and you want those studio level cameras, if you get 3P 4Ks, you get the free keyboard and $1,000 off. So
Exactly.
that's you can't beat that.
You can't.
You can't beat that. So just a little.
Who doesn't love a free keyboard?
And $1,000.
And $1,000 off.
All right, so now we're going to talk about some of the converters. Which
Cool. We actually have some of them over here.
Some of them right there. Oh, but we don't have this one.
We don't have the Core 5 and Core 7 yet, but those should be coming soon. So essentially, that is a monitor, recorder, streaming NDI box. All in one.
Can we go through those again?
Yeah. So let's say you have a manned camera and you need to, like any of these camcorders or broadcast cameras or whatever they are that you need to view the stream while also sending that stream down onto your TriCaster or onto the network. So you'll be able to see that feed that's coming in and then ship that off right down that LAN cable.
2-in-1 combined.
2-in-1,
making life easy.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's talk about
we have our
4K family.
4K family, right? Yep. So we have a couple of these guys. The one that I have here today is our BirdDog Quad. So that is a 412G SDI onto NDI, or vice versa. You can take 4 NDI signals, ship those to the Quad, and then push that out for SDI distribution. So
very cool.
Let's talk about that workflow. You have your 4K or 1080p cameras around your facility, and you need to bring that back into your hard baseband switcher. Well, you can have the NDI cameras streaming on the network. Then you have this decoder on the network for you to subscribe those sources to, and then plug that into like Blackmagic ATEMs or raw switchers or anything that has an SDI input on it. Super able to jump into that.
And we'll move on to the Flex 4K family.
Flex. These ones are great. These are super lightweight converters. We have some mounts on them that you can put them on top of your cameras as well. So that way you can take that HDMI in and then bring that onto your network. As you can see here, we have a Flex in and a Flex out. So the out is just an output and the in is just an input. With the 4K family before, those can be configured to be either or.
Right. They were both ways.
Exactly.
This is one way.
And then that backpack is a special one that has an NP-style Sony battery on the back of it. So that'll mount right onto your Atmos Ninjas to be able to loop right on through and get that feed.
Perfect. And the Mini.
The smallest. Actually, I don't know if this is the smallest anymore. I think the we gotta get some scales out for that. But no, so this is an encoder or a decoder. So this is used around displays to get that NDI feed onto TVs or vice versa, taking any HDMI signal and then placing that on your network.
Very cool, very cool. And we're going to talk about AV section. We've got a couple new things that BirdDog came out with. So let's get right into it.
First one being the Play. So this is now shipping. So these guys at Broadfield should be getting their plays very soon, which means you guys will be getting your play soon too. This is a NDI decoder. Couple things about that. So this unit does not have PoE, so please take note of that. However, it does have a USB-C input on there for power. So
everybody has a USB-C cable.
Everybody has a USB-C cable, and additionally, a lot of these displays that people are plugging them into now all have a USB power output on the side. So that's kind of where that power is coming from the TV because it's already there. And then HDMI out right to the display. This also has a magnet on the back. So for all your commercial displays that are ferrous or anything, metal, you're able to attach that on without needing zip ties or Velcro or anything like that.
Yeah, when we were at NAB just not too long ago, I'm getting my dates mixed up. Seeing that just stuck
attached
on the TV was incredible.
Perfect. Yeah.
Didn't have to worry about a mount. So it makes it,
and amazing to, if you need a service or you need to take it off or, move it to a different position or whatever it is.
Physically, it's not stuck there.
Yes, exactly.
All right, very cool. And now we'll talk about the pod.
So this is my favorite because we were talking about webcams before too.
We were.
So essentially what this unit does is this lets you take your NDI streams off your network and make them available as an NDI or a USB webcam. So you don't need to download NDI tools anymore to receive your NDI streams. So for those places that you have to bring in your laptop, or it's a presenter that just needs to come into the facility or the boardroom or whatever it is, for them to just be able to plug a single USB-C cable in and then have their NDI cameras as selectable as their inputs onto that meeting or into wherever it needs to go. It's incredibly advantageous.
I couldn't agree more. Again, I keep saying it, almost sound like a broken record. BirdDog's just making it easy for everybody.
Really are.
All right, wall plates, talking about the conference room again. So this would fit in there perfectly.
This fits in there perfectly. So there are two of these. There's a wall plate in and a wall plate out. So the wall plate ins will take two HDMI feeds and place those on the network. And the wall plate out will take two individual NDI streams and then output those to displays. So these are 2-gang wall boxes. So those will fit into your low voltage cavities. And then for permanent installation. They're also PoE enabled. So you have that cat cable coming up through through the low voltage and you're set.
Don't have to worry about having another power cable. Again, NDI just making everything easy by having everything in one cable. All right, that is the end. Thank you so much, Jake, for explaining everything that we just talked about.
Thanks for having me here.
I can't say thanks enough.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I do just want to remind everybody that this is going to be going on all month long for NDI November. We're going to be doing shows Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Definitely make sure that you stick around. If you like Team Jake, there's plenty more NDI to go around. All right, everybody, how can we end the show without talking about our winner of the P100? So David J. from Oklahoma, you are our winner for the BirdDog P100. We are going to send you an email, so definitely make sure that you look out for that email. Want to say thanks to Jake for joining us again, and we'll see you in the next show where we'll be giving more prizes away. We'll be talking about more NDI stuff, so definitely stick around. One more time, David J. from Oklahoma, congratulations. NDI November is going on all month long for all things NDI. Your one-time registration gains you access to all the informative webinars with great guests and tons of giveaways. Check out the full schedule and register at ndinovember.com. Giveaway prizes include BirdDog P100, JVC PZ200N camera, Telestream Wirecast Pro license, NewTek University class, and more. See all the giveaway prizes and register now at ndinovember.com.